Question. Andrew?
Kind of Pharaoh's injury was pretty grisly. Seems like it's got outside the bounds of a typical injury update.
Yeah.
Did he travel home outside with the team? Was he staying Salt Lake City?
Thanks for asking that. That was what I was going to start with. I think, due to the nature and the significance of his situation, definitely going to comment on that. And Pharaoh didn't travel with the team. He wasn't allowed to travel just due to the nature of the injury. He's in Salt Lake City still. We don't know exactly how long that's going to take to. He needs to go through a couple of procedures here in the next. Again, it's a generalized 3 to 7 days approximately to get as best of a foundation as can be had going forward for his long-term prognosis, which we don't know at this point at all. He's out for the season. Obviously a short-term, meaningless thing really at this point in a lot of ways. But he's there, has a ton of support. We have a member of the football staff with him. A couple of his family members were there with him. Hopefully more on the way, trying to make that happen. We'll have a member of our athletic training staff go down and be with him starting tomorrow, to try to again, comfort, expedite, support during this next phase. And then the long-term plan from there is going to depend on what happens now, and we don't know it. Unfortunately, that was a significant injury. And if you're a prayerful person, thoughtful person, obviously our thoughts and hearts are with Pharaoh, as well as, a couple Utah guys who had unbelievably significant non-contact injuries in that game. It was a tough game, and have a ton of respect for Kyle Winningham and Utah and everything that they're about. And it was tough on both sides. And I want to thank our medical people. Unfortunately, had to really show their expertise last night, both professionally and as human beings, and the same with all the people at University of Utah and the kind of the sports medicine community there did an outstanding job under horrible circumstances.
Who's back with him from the staff?
Horace Raymond is with him right now, and Kim Terrell will be with him tomorrow. And we'll manage the situation as best we can going forward. And I want to thank our administration as well for everything that they've done and at this point.
Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Yes. Yeah.
Was he doing okay?
Well, I talked to him last night, and all the rest of the details, I think can be best be said is we're doing everything we can for him, and going forward, it's a long process, but that dude is a competitive guy, and it's already galvanized our team. In the locker room last night, coming off the field, it was a unbelievable situation, tough situation, and just reveals more and more about our guys that you like.
I have some static on, I think it's on the line, somebody on the phone lines. I don't know if you can turn everything down. Maybe it's a phone line we can't deal with or do anything about, but turn anything down that you have in the background.
This is Rob. Sorry if it's me. I'm at the arena, and I'm in as quiet a spot as I can find.
Well, stop it. Go ahead. Oh, do you have a question, Rob?
I guess if I was going to have first shot, I was going to ask about tackling. I think Dargan's play on the fake punt, Joe Walker on the third down prior to the missed field goal.
Yeah.
Does illustrate some improvement over the course of the season in tackling?
Those two plays, specifically were outstanding. We had a couple other situations. It wasn't so much the tackling; it was guys being their eyes were off, either peeking at somebody that wasn't their responsibility, or peeking at something that wasn't their responsibility, that led to them being one step or a half step or two steps out of position, and against a guy like Booker on a swing screen or in space against some of those other guys, you're not going to be able to get him down. But that's been a point of emphasis for sure. We've gotten better. We still need to improve a ton in that area. Our pad level on both sides we need to improve upon. Edges on defense. Had several plays kind of in the passing game on that big long pass. Troy Hill had from his angle, had great coverage. That was a heck of a play by that guy. Our safety, could have made a play on the ball and probably picked it. So just, a bunch of those things. Offensively, obviously had a ton of drops, which was not normal. Our front identification, again, our pad level, some route discipline that we need to clean up.
Warren?
Coach, kind of going back to Pharaoh, well, not really about him, but Evan and Johnny Munt, how have those two progressed, and do you feel that they're ready to step in and kind of fill that tight end role?
Yeah, whoever's next will be ready to roll, and obviously, over the next 2 weeks, we'll kind of evaluate what's the best deal going forward, whether it's 1-2 tight ends, 1-2 tailbacks, 1-2 receivers here and there, but we have a ton of confidence in those guys. They've played between those two, Koakai, they've played a lot, and we'll be ready to rock come Colorado.
On the Clay fumble, how easy would it have been for the ref to follow the crowd's lead and blow that dead?
I thought that was a big-time play by those guys, too, because there's so many things that you kind of assume in those situations, and that was both guys, you can see on the replay, are dead on it, and they did a great job on that play.
You guys got downfield, and Marcus got 2 sacks in the first quarter. How do you feel like your tackles particularly responded moving forward from that for the rest of the game?
Pretty well. We knew going into it that we had, some tough matchups there. Those guys were, as I said last night, as advertised. And you watch on film, again, it's kind of like what I said about the tackling. When you've got a true freshman going against one of the best guys in the country, and he kind of thinks about something else before he does his job, that's not good. And so that happened a couple times. A couple times it was a veteran guy. Again, whether it was a confusion or, whatever the situation is, and we'll coach that up and go forward. I thought they, without question, had great looks in their eyes, on the sideline of when the crowd's going crazy, and whether it was at that point or in the third quarter when we fumbled, that would be a time where a lot of guys, might question themselves or whatever, and they had great resolve.
Jake?
Mark, Doug, when he came in at center, was snapping low a little bit. Is that something you think that just comes with coming in the moment in a game? And if he is the center going forward, how does he kind of fix that?
Doug played really well. He had a couple low snaps. That one snap that got away from Marcus was just kind of that's one of the hardest things as a quarterback in our offense is you're thinking about 7 different things, and oh, by the way, I have to see the ball into my hands just like a receiver, and it just went right through his hands. He was trying to get the ball out quickly and just missed it. But Doug, we have again ton of confidence in Doug. He played really well, with the exception of the low snaps against a very, very good front.
Andrew?
When you guys got into Utah territory and you knew you had Schneider being consistent, how did that change play calling or decision making of let's kick it here instead of going for it? Because you guys obviously are pretty aggressive in going for it.
Yeah, we'll still be aggressive for sure. There were a couple times there, the ball's on the, I think it was about the 31, 32-ish, wherever that was, and that's a tough first go-round to kick almost a 50-yard field goal, and we thought we had a good play. There are a couple other times where we kicked it. Again, we have a ton of confidence in both those guys.
Caleb?
Marcus had nearly 3 times as much passing yards in almost only the third quarter. What was the halftime adjustments to help open up the passing game?
There weren't necessarily that many adjustments other than just kind of settling down up front, doing your job a little bit better, having cleaner eyes as far as not looking as much other stuff other than your job. Royce Freeman had a couple huge assists he was an honorary offensive tackle there for a few plays and had a couple of big, huge protection assists, as well as a couple of the tailbacks did. Just made some plays. Didn't drop it as much, had a couple drops earlier, a couple later, not as many during that stretch.
Steve Graywood said earlier in the season that in '94 he had a similar situation where he was constantly having to reshuffle, and they decided it's not an excuse and won the Pac-10. Can you just talk about the job he's done, changing the lineup around seemingly every week?
Yeah, he has, and all those guys have. I think offensively we've had to adjust quite a bit, and that's what you have to do. You can't sit around and pout about what isn't. You have to move on to what is and what's going to be. And we have more importantly a bunch of great players that believe in it and believe in each other, and have worked tremendously hard to earn the confidence. And it's not just go out there, hey, we really believe in you. It's no, absolutely, we believe in you. Of course, get in there and do a great job. It's not an empty, little statement. But we'll see where we are going forward. I will say, along the injury lines, I've seen many reports and speculation that are beyond even a close realm of reality on several other fronts.
Jake?
You guys held Devonte Booker to 65 yards. He was essentially a 1,000-yard back in 8 games this season. What did you guys do well that worked to shut him down? Really honed in on him, and that sounds simple enough, but, tried to make everybody else beat us. The quarterback and the receiver, made a couple plays. Those guys have some capable dudes outside, as we saw, and they gave him a couple chances to make plays, and they did. But we couldn't let that guy rush for 200 yards and control the clock, control the game, and a couple screens here and there were some body blows, but we withstood for the long term.
Do we have any questions from those on the phones?
Yeah, I've got a.
Go ahead, Gary.
Speaking of, thanks.
Gary?
Mark? Yeah, okay. Mark, yesterday's game, a tight game on the road, and you score the last 3 touchdowns, I believe. Is that a reflection of a team that's been there before, conditioning, or just maybe a combination of several factors?
I would probably say a combination of several factors. A quarterback that's playing really well, a defense that really started believing in themselves, causing a bunch of turnovers. Had a couple huge special teams plays. The stopped fake punt, obviously among them. Keeping Clay out of the end zone, also vital among them. And I think our guys just are playing with a bunch of confidence right now, and most of that earned. We did some really good things last week, and I think maybe exercised some demons in this room and some other people that were really worried about life. And then the whole November road game thing came up, and I heard some guys talking about that after the game. Not necessarily our guys, but some people around the program, let's say. But that is an excellent football team. Those guys are a few points from being a top 5 team, unbelievably physical, unbelievably relentless in how they play, and to beat them there was significant.
I'm not sure whether it was Rob or Steve trying to get a question in.
Yeah, I was going to ask about finishing with that flurry of points on the heels of the goal line stand against Stanford. How do you guys feel like you guys are finishing games right now?
Well, we've talked about that a ton. Obviously, it's something that is vital. Whether it's getting Booker on the ground, finishing him, getting multiple bodies to Clay in the special teams area. That's something we talk about all the time. Hopefully, it's finishing a play. It's finishing a midterm. It's finishing whatever well.
Any other questions on the phone for now? Okay, Warren.
I forgot to mention our players of the game. Offensively, Marcus, shocker. Eddie Hurd was our offensive scout team player of the week. On defense, we had a couple of assists from, or co's, or however you want to look at it. Honorable mention, Armstead and DeForest Buckner played really well, almost without exception. And then the defensive player of the game was Joe Walker. Lane Roseberry was the scout of the week. And then on special teams, Jawan Williams was the player of the game with an honorable mention to Aiden. And then the scout team player of the week was Jaylen Brown.
Mark, you kind of alluded to this. It's hard to believe that Utah is a 3-loss team.
Yeah.
I don't know if people really gave them a lot of respect. I know you guys were talking about it last week. Now that you've seen the film, were they even better on film that you could see actually what their schemes were and what they actually did? Were they everything as advertised, I guess?
They were definitely as advertised, and they made a couple change-ups in their offensive front. Had a couple guys rotating in there a little bit differently than they had before, and that helped. Their special teams. That punter is one of my favorite guys to watch in college football, and he's unbelievable. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. And tackled Johnny Lloyd, so we can give Johnny Lloyd a hard time for the rest of the year. But no, it was a huge test. The crowd was awesome. Our crowd was great again. All the Duck Nation is represented everywhere we've been. It's been incredible. Yeah, that's a really good football team. Glad a lot of them are seniors.
Anything else? Okay, Andrew?
I know you guys have kind of.
Is that you?
No, it's not. Yeah. A little high pitched. You guys kind of alluded to you keep your own metrics and stats of how you guys measure your own performance, but third down defense, whatever that speaks to, it's kind of been a weakness of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, though, 5-15, I think Utah was.
Mm-hmm.
What was different? How are you guys able to kind of limit them? Maybe Thompson being out had to do with some of that, but still, you had Booker and Wilson. What went so well last night?
I think a lot of times we were better on first down. It was we had multiple tackles for losses, multiple 2nd and 8s, 2nd and 9s. When you're playing from that vantage point rather than 2nd and 5, life's a lot easier. We made a couple plays on balls in the passing game, and just did. I think it's such a full encompassing deal in terms of you got to be great on first down to be great on third down. If it's 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3, it's going to be a tough night. And so did a much better job in that area. Not perfect by any means, but better.
Lauren?
We haven't seen Joe Walker talk a lot this year, so it's nice to see him talk last night. But talk about what kind of impact he's made. He certainly has been outstanding the last several weeks. What kind of impact has he really made on this team?
Yeah, Joe's a great, another just a great guy to be around, great teammate. He's a guy that everybody loves, and just has found his niche in these last few games. We've done a great job, I think, schematically of really playing to his strengths, and he's made play after play after play and affected play after play after play.
Playing 3 out of the 4 aggressive defenses like Washington, Stanford, Utah, does this bye kind of come in at a perfect time for you guys? And then what is the schedule for this week for the group?
Mm-hmm. From a physical standpoint, we're gonna do something of we're gonna wait and see on a lot of things here for Tuesday and Thursday. Will be practices. We'll also do some lifting, conditioning, and then we'll probably do something on Wednesday of a different nature, less football. It's going to be a big academic week, obviously a big health week, big push. At this point in the season, getting healthy and getting smart is just as important. Our guys are in great shape. They've got to continue to work and do the things we do within practice, but getting smart and getting healthy are probably more important.
Last chance on the phone.
Morse code.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.